Okay. Page 339 in this amazing book, talking about Sphira, continuing from last week, where Rav Shlomo was talking about Tzimtzumim. Remember this? Tzimtzumim, holy constrictions, right? There's one kind of constriction which is creating space. The beginning of all of creation was not a positive act that Hashem made something. The first thing Hashem did was to create space, which is also the beginning for us also. Whenever we want to start something new, the first thing is to make space for it. And then there's another kind of tzimtzum, which is the tzimtzum of the oisios, the tzimtzum into particularities, into letters, into thoughts, feelings, words, deeds, etc. And Hashem does a little bit of magic, that He sends us matzah, as we learned last time, that matzah is Hashem just sending us Torah straight into our gut, straight suckling, like the word hamotzu that you have in the Haftorah for Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. We read it 2 Shabbos ago. Mishaya Navi, the Rabbi Nachman in Torah 57 relates to matzah. He says that's where the word matzah comes from, the word like limtzotz, like to suckle, like a baby suckles. So the first thing is we get a complete download of godliness straight. And you can't talk, it's silent. You're not allowed to talk while you're eating. It's a halacha. It's not just only politeness, it's a halacha in Shulchan Aruch that eating has to be a quiet state, just receiving. And then after that, now we're in this work of Surat HaOmer to give words, give feeling, give understanding to that initial contact point. The Hashem, Kabbalistically, it's called a kav. The Hashem shone a thin line. Kav, the Kabbalists say, is the root of the word tikva, hope. There are most Hebrew words have a 3-letter root. Some have 4-letter roots, and some have 2-letter roots. So tikva could be, the root of it is kav, and it comes from that. That Hashem sends a kav into the chalal hapanui, into that vacated space. And that kav contains total infiniteness. Even though it's very thin and very small, right? We have to trust it, trust the matzah. Like if Shlomo, we learned last time, if someone would, my friend Yeshua Koren told me that if someone would walk around with matzah in his pockets, like filled with matzah, and he'd sit next to people and say, "Hey, brother, you want some vitamin M?" and pull out a matzah. That matzahs, especially on Seder night when we make a bracha on them, they're filling us. And it's not only matzah. It's all kinds of experiences that we have, and we need to trust them, that there really is hope. Even though we can't give words, what's frustrating is you have this undeniable sense of hope, but then you look at the world and it's like, but how am I gonna live? How am I gonna manifest, And we need to trust it. We need to chew on it, imbibe it, receive it. That's the beginning. That's Yitzias Mitzrayim. That's eating the matzah. And then it goes to this place that we're in now of counting. Goes to this long period of time of counting, right? The Torah needs to really, like Shlomo said, matzah actually was Torah, is Torah. Matzah, we already got the whole thing in one nice suckling and one nice gulp. And now we need to kind of interpret it and tune it in to our emotional, all of our emotional aspects and our intellectual, our consciousnesses throughout the Sfirat HaOmer. And then that way, when Hashem gives us the Torah on Shavuos, we're going to be able to really be present for it and receive the Torah in every way, in every aspect of our being, and have this sense that this contact, this connectivity really is possible. One way of understanding this is that 49, in a certain way, Kabbalistically represents all the numbers in the world. 7 times 7, like the 7 weeks, 7 times. It represents all the numbers in the world, all the time in the world. The 50th day, which we don't count, which is the day of Shavuos, is the first day of the 8th week. The letter Chet in Hebrew is 2 letters that are connecting. The Ksav Beis Yosef, there's 2 different ways of writing a Chet in the Sefer Torah. One is 2 zayins with the 2 top lines of a triangle connecting them. The points upwards. The Gemara says it's pointing up to Shemayim. And according to the Rizal, it's a vav and a zayin. Right? 6, 7. Right? Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly. So Ches represents connectivity, friendship. It's like a chuppah. Starts with letter Ches and it looks like a Ches. Right? Right. The 8 is the place of connection. The Ramban says that Am Yisrael, we are the 8th. We are the 8th. That Shabbos had no soulmate. Every day of the week had a soulmate. The first day Hashem creates light and dark. On the 4th day, sun, the moon, and the stars. Right. Day 2 Hashem makes the sky and the sea. And day 5 is birds and fish. Day 3, Hashem makes the earth come up out of the ocean and vegetation. And day 6, animals and people. And then Hashem made Shabbos and it was alone for a long time, waiting. B'Yetzias Mitzrayim, waiting for Shabbos HaGadol, for Am Yisrael to be keeping Shabbos and make Kiddush, have Suda, sing. And we are the Zivug for Shabbos. So that makes us the 8th. The Ramban writes this in Parshas Emor. So 8 is the number of connectivity. So what's happening on that 50th day is this magical thing that the specificity, the tzimtzumim, the constrictions, the numbers, the numberedness, the multiplicity of this world, the complexity of who I am, this with my specific story and my specific pain and my specific, all my issues, can connect and be in relationship with Hashem. That's the 50th. That it's this magical day and that's what Torah is all about. In order for us to be present and receive it and believe it, we need to receive the whole thing all at once, right into our gut when we eat the matzah, the kav that contains the full infiniteness of Hashem, shining in this thin line into our mouths like little birds in a nest. It's like, baby, and we just get the matzah. And then throughout the sphera, we're growing and believing and trusting that our whole intellectual and our whole emotional being is capable of cultivating connectivity in a lived, sequential, measured way in the world. And then we're ready for that amazing 50th day. Right? Yeah.
Big leap.
Yeah.
To say matzah is kulo Torah. Isn't it? I don't understand how.
How does that Shlomo?
He extrapolates.
So let's see how did he put it exactly. This is, I'm just going over from last week. And he says, "Bepesach haTorah hi adayin lifnei hatzimtzum." Right. One way of understanding it is like this: is on the bottom paragraph, page 335. Pesach haTorah hi adayin lifnei hatzimtzum. Right. Or in the beginning, Rak tizkru yididim, matzah hi oro shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu bli tzimtzum. Matzah is the light of Hashem, unconstricted. Me'aver l'masim sheli, above all my deeds. Me'aver l'kol davar, above everything. Ha'or hazeh mamash nichnas b'tochi. This light goes into me. Mati haner geredet min shamayim yashal letoch gufi bli hasinum shel harosh sheli. Without the filter of my head. HaTorah she'anachnu mekablim b'Pesach. The Torah that we receive on Pesach is Torascha b'toch me'ai. Hi Torah b'li milim. Me'aver la'havana sheli, above my understanding. Right? It's the connectivity itself. So one way of understanding this is we have, and we sing it on Simchat Torah, Yisrael ve'oraita kutcha b'richu chadhu. You know that song? Like the Am Yisrael, Torah, and Hashem are all one, right? That we have this triple thing, right? So on Pesach, in a way, is just us and Hashem. It's Shir Hashirim, right? You reach your Hashem, and it's just the relationship just with Hashem. But Torah is there too, just in a embryonic, in a like the white fire of the scroll, without yet having letters. It's just like, what does the white fire say? That we're connected. In fact, I think he's going to speak about this. The worker. Is this where he tells the story of the no, I don't think it's right here, but Shlomo has a famous story of the Munkatcher passport, right? And the worker would write letters with the which Rebbe was it? Worker, Menda worker, and I forgot who he was writing letters with. Maybe it was the Kotzker. I don't remember. One of the Chassidim of Reb Simcha Bonin. And one time, the person who was carrying the letter just couldn't help it. Like, what are these great Rebbes writing to each other? And he opened it. He saw it was a blank piece of paper. And he delivered it and everything. And then on his way back, he said, "Well, what did he respond to?" Oh, this is also a blank paper. And he couldn't help it. Then the Rebbe, I forgot which one, like he said, we're just sending each other how much we love each other. Like we're just sending each other how much we miss each other. And we're expressing that in the impossibleness to put into words. So beautiful, right? So that's like matzah. You can't talk while you're eating matzah. It's quiet, it's satiating, it's divine, and it kind of represents the fullness of how Hashem wants to just coddle you, feed you, fill you, love you, right?
Is it fair to say that matzah is like the most spiritual sustenance that you'll get in food in Muslim?
Today, 100%. It's the only deraisa that you say. We say it on Maror too, but that's only a rabbinic mitzvah. The only biblical mitzvah ever that we have in exile till Mashiach comes, when we have the Beis Hamikdash, we'll say al achilas zevach. We'll have a bracha before you eat korban meat. Korban Pesach. I think there's even a special bracha on al achilas Pesach. I think also. So, but for now, it's definitely the highest eating that there is. A lot of Torah about it. Matzah, the tzaddik in the middle, is gematria mem nun, which is man, 90, which is man, and the ma on the outside is the shem ma is also just simply our curiosity about Yetzias Mitzrayim. Matzazu ashum ma, Marazu ashum ma nishtana. The whole Haggadah is ma.
About the curiosity. Yeah. Why is the curiosity the theme of the night? Why does that create?
Has to be. Yes.
The experience.
Amazing question. Amazing. I love the question. It's because the whole inyan of everything we're going through, of being born in a physical body, of dealing with Mitzrayim, of dealing with everything we go through, is, we keep repeating this from Shlomo, is to learn how to go from being childish to being childlike. Why is that so important? Why is it so important? Because the childlikeness is what energizes dynamic relationship. Otherwise, it's all Shemayim is boring. Otherwise, it's all just like, okay, the Malachim are all singing, but they sang yesterday too. Like where does Shemayim get their simcha from watching us? Right? They're not allowed to sing their song until we say Kodesh Kodesh, right? Our deeds are creating Malachim, and it's massive. We don't realize it, but this is a big deal. And this is another thing that we don't have time for now, but you can find it on my Spotify. I give a whole shir about mochin, different consciousnesses that are coming down to us during Sfirat HaOmer. And there's two types of mochin de katnus, two types of childlike mochin, and two types of mochin de gadlus, of expanded consciousness. But the ideal is not that you just become expanded and you jettison, you forget, you stop being a kid. No, that you need all four of these aspects all the time. And what the mature godless sheni looks like is with all the other three, both types of katnus and the first type of godless. And so, why? Because that curiosity, ein beis medrash below chidush. Could also read it backwards. Below chidush, ein beis medrash. That what does it mean to learn Torah? What does it mean to relate? Is that you're constantly growing and connecting in a new way. Right? The picture of this is the kruvim. They're one piece of gold. So it's a static oneness. But it's fashioned into two kruvim, and they have drama. There's ups and downs in there. They're looking at each other. They're not. They're whatever. And it's two childlike faces. Kiravia, the Gemara says, kruv means as a child. That's what the word kruv means. It means as kiravia, as a child. So the childlikeness, and you'll notice this with the big tzaddikim, the greater, the deeper the person, the more they're like younger than you. You know what I'm talking about? You see a true Judy, and the real like alta tzaddikim are the youngest. They should be. That's what it's right. The story of the blind beggar from Rabbeinu, etc. Okay. Page. Where are we? 339. Yeah. Yeah. Well, page 339. And it says
pick like a child without getting in trouble.
That's the thing, childlike, not childish, right? There's you're extracting the tov, and there's such tov. It's crucial, absolutely crucial. Rabba pasach b'bdichusa, etc. So, I want to tell you another story. Gamkin would also sweet. Yom echad nichnas ha'hilig gevarka lebeit midrash. One time the worker came into the base midrash. Rasham anashim mitkalim, some people just kind of milling around. Vehem omdim lahakot shamishu. They're about to give somebody a beating. Mavil v'vorka ain't the vorka zeh shemimim yad. And vorka, no such thing as being violent. Nigash haRebbe v'kulam. The Rebbe came over and went stop. Va'az misaprim lahadam hazeh shemdu lahakot hu itonai b'iton yehudi chiloni shemash nilcham b'yadut. This person is a reporter. And in those days, I mean, still anyway, in those days, the secular Judaism was kind of very strong and being born, like in Russia at the time, and he was writing for like a leftist secular publication.
What do you mean being born?
It was starting, like like we're talking about like the early 1800s or something like that. Yeah.
Times of the Tziv, no?
I think this is earlier. The Vorker lived, mid 1800s. Maybe it's around the time. I don't know. My math, I never get the dates all perfect. But Eastern Europe it started earlier in Western Europe, etc. And Nigash Rebbe, so the Rebbe says what's going on. They tell him it's this reporter, and he's Lasof Chomer lekatavar sita varka. He's coming to write a poisonous, negative smear article about Varka, about the Varka Chassidim. So the Chassidim were, going to give him some, rough him up. So he started interviewing people. kolkach nurava vorka, so that so he could then go tell people how terrible things are in vorka. They wanted to give him a beating, like somebody who was, speaking negatively of Am Yisrael. So the Varka turned to this reporter. He said, "Yehudi Akarchli, my dear Jew, you want to hear about the terrible things that happen here? Why are you speaking to them? Ask me. I'll tell you all about it." I understand this is your livelihood. As I say, I want to help you. Come, stay at my house. I'll tell you everything. Give you all the dirt. Yeah. Shlomo's laughing. Can you imagine what this yid, what this lowly, broken yid, experienced living 3 days in the Vorka's house? Wow. I think that's the end of that story. Let me tell you another thing. I guess it's that if you come close to me, and see what you're really talking about. This is something that, by the way, just as an aside, I did a PhD in religion, and I wrote about Reb Nosson, and but during the coursework, it wasn't so Toradic. I had to learn all this kind of stuff, and one of the things that really bothered me was we had a course called methodology in the study of religion, methodology, and they had all these different ways. Here's how it's done. Here's how the field, here's how we study religion. And not one of the methodologies was to talk to the actual rabbi or priest or chief, speak to the person who's the authority. They don't do that. It's not, I was like, that's crazy.
What do they do?
Like they read the writings and they decide themselves what it means. They talk to people, they do sociological studies. But to me, this was like this glaring example of how the Western world does not want to encounter. They want to be the observer, and everyone else is like pygmies, is just being observed. They don't want to meet someone else who's observing them. They don't want to meet like another intellectual. This is also what bothered the Greeks. Why they hated the Jews so much is because the Jews also had an intellectual tradition. The Greeks were the first to call the rest of the world barbarians. They're the first to introduce this idea that we call now first world and third world with no second world. They were the ones and so when they encountered the Jews, it really bothered them. Because all the other peoples, they were able to write off as, they're lowly, they're this, they're that. But Jews had like a very rich, very heavy duty, intellectual, rigorous chachamim. We had a whole, educated, top-notch people.
And that's when they came to the story of Hanukkah?
It's very much what the story of Hanukkah is about. Yes. But in any case, not to go into Hanukkah right now, but the point is that the Vorker inviting him into his house was also, you want to write bad about Vorker. You think you can understand just by like seeing some Chassidim acting this way or that way. Find out what they all here for, come over, come meet somebody who actually knows what it's about, They don't do that, and it's very sad actually. And he really, this act of inviting him to his house and to stay there for 3 whole days is a very profound shaking up of the system of, reporters and that whole world of already saying like these people are no good and I'm just going to find out why, but like meet the actual Panemius, like what are they doing here? Why are they really here? They almost never, they don't want to encounter, someone who's looking at them, with the same curiosity, who has an opinion on them, they want to be the ones having the opinion, very, very profound, very, very profound. Let me tell you another thing. Tem Yodim HaVorker HaRishon Haya Rabbi Yitzchak Vorker, the first worker. Oh, so I don't know if this one was Rabbi Yitzchak. In any case, when we just spoke about any case, the first worker was Rabbi Yitzchak Vorker, and his son, who was the next Rebbe after him, was Mendel Vorker. Mendel Vorker was known as the silent Rebbe, a Rebbe Hashatkan. He's kind of to come upon me. I mentioned him a number of times. We need to really understand and get to know this wondrous Rebbe. It says, take it as a challenge. Learn everything you can about this silent Rebbe. He was quiet. It wasn't because he had nothing to say. So now listen. He had a son-in-law named Nechemyela, who lived in Warsaw. Oh, so now we're talking at the time of Volozhin, right? The Volozhin Yeshiva. That's Poland, right? Almost everybody was Chassidim. So I think that's the Beis Halevi, Reb Yosef Ber, Soloveitchik, father of Reb Chaim, who was the Rav in Brisk, to come to Warsaw. Who did he stay by? This son-in-law of Reb Mendel, the silent Rebbe, his son-in-law Nechemyela. When they came back, they asked him, what do you have to tell us about Nechemyela? He said, first of all, he's a very poor man. And still, he took me in with such grace and so beautifully. But I want you to know something. It would be easier to get 20,000 rubles from him than one extra word. Right? Pretty amazing. Right?
What's the quality of being quiet?
Oh. It's big because we talked about matzah as being a quiet. I mean, you hear the crunching, right? But you can't talk while you're eating it, right? Talking about the connectivity itself, right? Sometimes you talk so much that the connectivity itself gets compromised. The manifestation of the relationship overshadows the relationship itself.
Covers it over.
Yeah, too many words. What? Yeah, sure, yeah.
That's what people do when they're uncomfortable. They just say something.
Mm-hmm. Uncomfortable silence, just fill it up, right? And yeah, it's a very strong thing, not to be afraid of silence. And just being present with another person and realizing that you cannot say what the relationship is. You cannot speak out what the connectivity is. Right? Very, very big. Silence is a major thing. It's also a big part of Nigun that, the Gemara actually says, Bakoshi hitiru dibur b'Shabbos. They barely were able to allow talking on Shabbos at all. Totally amazing. And the issue is that it fills it up too much and then you miss the experience and the connection. It's also very true in music. Some people, they sing nigunim a little too fast because they don't want the space in between the notes. Or they go to the next nigun immediately. They don't let you sit with where that nigun took you. Very, very big. It's a big question. I can't give a full answer, but it's a gewalt.
I knew you'd like that.
The answer's in the silence. Yeah. So gewalt. Oh. Mishtika. Yes. Gewalt.
So he took it to the nth degree. This.
Yeah. So he says, real holiness, he says, never gets lost. Tishma'u b'New York haya menatzeach. There was a conductor, one of the most famous conductors. Someone says, I don't remember his name. The Tzari shachachti et shmo. Menatzeach Baal Shem Olam, he was like world famous. And it was the year 61 or 62. Yom Echad, somebody told me, did you know that this conductor is actually a grandson of Mendel of Orker, silent Rebbe? I was right at the beginning of my musical career. Because I called him up, I said, I'd like to meet you. Who he skipped me out, he immediately said yes. We went to meet at a restaurant. Sandwich in chazir. In front of him was like a ham sandwich. Hey guys, you should tell Marley.
Why didn't Shlomo take me to a kosher place?
So someone said, I don't know. Good question. The kasha for myself. Can I for myself? Five minutes can kashas. As your guys, you tell Marley, he's kamti li pagesit cha vasiloti yana lechash lo. Someone says that the vibe he was getting was, yeah, I'm agreeing to meet with you, but don't have any illusions. Like I'm off. I'm not gonna get into this religious stuff, right? But we know he says he was so sweet, so sweet. He had something much deeper, much more than just a simple Jew. He was a little like a Rebbe. Someone says I was very young. I wasn't sure exactly what to talk to him about, right? As he told the bear, here's like world famous, conductor. I guess Shlomo probably had a few albums out, so he probably knew who Shlomo was a little bit. So I started speaking with him about Vorka. Kan ba'aftar Rishonos. The first surprise was when he mentioned his grandfather, Reb Mendele, his eyes filled with tears. Understand, it's not a simple Jew. Lamarota sandwich, despite the sandwich. Our conversation got warmer. Pitom hu'amerli, and he returned that we didn't know. We should all live a long life. When it's time for me to leave the world, I should know that I know that before I leave the world, I'm gonna have to do tshuva. So it's good to see you. It's a lot. Shlomo says, in the middle of the story, that Shlomo's sitting, the world famous conductor was a descendant of Reb Mendel of Orker, the silent Rebbe, the one who sent that blank piece of paper to the other Rebbe. Anyway, he's like this silent, amazing Rebbe. And so he just told Shlomo, you should know that I know that when comes my time to leave the world, I'm definitely going to do tshuva before I leave the world. Even though he was sitting there in front of Shlomo eating a ham sandwich. So he says, you think my grandfather, Mendel of Orker, will let me come up to Shemaim, meluchlach, kefishani, as dirty as I am? He'll never let. He'll make sure I said tshuva. He'll make sure that I do tshuva. Someone says, I got some courage. V'shalti to ask him, if so, lama ta mechakeh l'rega acharon? Why wait till that last second? Someone's like, Amar alti salati, don't ask me. I could see they didn't want to get into it. But someone says we became friends. It wasn't like a break. They became connected. Someone's a young, at the beginning maybe put out an album or two, and this is like this world famous conductor. For a year, I didn't hear anything from him about it. Vaz Pitom Zayab is 1963. And in Mekabel Hazmana, I get invitation. Umazminoti the Erev Yuchad the Carnegie Hall. He's invited me to Carnegie Hall, Bomi Natseach, Al Tizmoret Shlema Shetivatza Rak Nigunei Varka. By the way, I have a Vorka Nigun I can sing for you. I'm going to sing for you a Vorka Nigun. So and so it was the evening, a Vorka Nigunim. Imagine Carnegie Hall. And then like slide there, right?
I wonder if we can pull that up.
Yeah.
We should try.
But look after. I don't want to start typing things, but I'll sing you a Vorka Niggin. You'll blow your mind. It's an insane Niggin. I'll sing it to you. There's Lo Yoman. It's too bad Andy's not here. Lo Yoman. And he says they do Nigunei Vorka. Hema Odem Ukin the Nigunim of Vorka are so very deep. The way he conducted that evening. The Kokachif was so good and so sweet, so beautiful. Someone says you could cry forever on each nigga out of this world. Lo mikaev, not from pain. I'll talk about this. Me'omek, cry out of how deep it is. Crying from the sense of depth, profundity. Hayav shar mamash hargish kama neshama. You could see it was putting, and the conductor is like, bringing the ruach, bringing this, wow, neshama into the thing. Hamshechu, k'tat kmo sipur shel Moshe Feinstein v'hasiyu. And there's a little bit like a story, I don't know what he's referring to, about Rav Moshe Feinstein. He says, a few weeks afterwards, Shamati shu histalek min haolam. I guess Rav Moshe Feinstein also made he called everyone together to make a siyum. Yeah, that's a story. Rav Moshe Feinstein called everyone to make a siyum hashas one time. And everyone asked him, but you're making siyumim all the time. Why now? He says, I want to make a siyum. And he had finished, it was also a big deal. He had finished shas for the 202nd time. Twice mea ve'echad, which is like, it's like inhuman, like beyond. And then he died shortly afterwards. So I guess similarly, he did this concert. Maybe he kind of knew his time was coming, and then he passed away a few weeks later. He says, I don't know. Shlomo says, Ulai hu asa tshuva b'oto laila. Maybe he did tshuva that night. Atem Yodim, he says, I need his karba. I remember him all the time. It's almost like thinking about this. It's amazing how Hashem sends these souls, like the hunchback who was with of Columbus Kal Shapiro, the Piasetzner Rebbe, the hunchback in Tel Aviv. Like, if someone met, the grandson of Schwarzer Wolf, right? All these people, and then he meets this conductor. It's amazing, Hashem. Like, I'm sad of this world, It says, I remember him all the time. In time, it says, in the meantime, Lo matzati mishu shezocher oto v'shuchal eskili et shmo, and I can't find anyone who remembers him or remembers his name. We have to try. Now we have the internet. Kamivinim says, you understand, Birama shel tzimtzum, on the level of tzimtzum, on the level of the constrictions and particular manifestations in this world. Who hayat ish olam, who's a man of the world, eating a ham sandwich, right? Aval Birama shel lo tzimtzum, on the silent level, on the matzah level, on the kav level, on the Hashem in tamotzu. This angu aziz kevoda, this pasuk from Yeshaya, I think it's chapter 65, I don't remember, 60 something, 63 maybe. The matzah that is Lashon suckling, motzetz, that Hashem suckles, gives us straight. On the level of lotzim to b'pnimiyuto, hu haya chasid varka, he was a complete chasid. Umi yodea, ulay afilu Rebbe, he maybe was even a Rebbe. Amarti lechem et havdel ben Rebbe Shalem lechatzi Rebbe, I told you the difference between a whole Rebbe and a half Rebbe. No, it says, Rebbe Salem, umishu shekolam choshev shu Rebbe, v'hu batuach shu lo Rebbe. A full, real Rebbe is someone the whole world says is a Rebbe, and he says he's not a Rebbe. A chetzi Rebbe, a half Rebbe is the opposite. Only he thinks he's a Rebbe. Let's sing for you this niggin, because how can you not? This is something I learned from my friend Yoni Kasten. He recorded it. You ready for this? This is not a normal niggin. Hi, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 oh, yeah, da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Something else, right? Give out. Do a few more minutes. So Tzimtzumim Kedoshim, page 343. Holy constrictions. Sounds good to see Abigail. Abigail, how you doing? Wonderful. Shlomo asks, Mahu Bait. What is our home? A home is like the biggest tzimtzum. It's a constriction, right? Now I'm domesticated, right? Tamed. Right? There's a story I heard from Gedalia Clear that from Hirsch Ber Lippel, one of the great Alta Breslover Hasidim, that he used to, he lived in Uman, and he every year, like a few months before Rosh Hashanah, he would start walking. No, right. After Rosh Hashanah, he would start walking to Eretz Yisrael because he wanted to be in Eretz Yisrael. And then if it got to be too close to Rosh Hashanah, he'd turn back and start walking back to Uman. And he was with someone, I forgot who. And they were in a cave somewhere, in like Carpathian Mountains, whatever, It's like raining and cold and wind. And I said to him, Hirschber, like, don't you think it would be nice to have a house? And Hirschber said, it says, Beis Aaron Baruch Hashem, Beis Alevi Baruch Hashem. It says, Yireh Hashem Baruch Hashem. Doesn't say bias. So there's a place of being beyond Tzimtzumim. Most of us can't live there. He was like the last of the Mohicans. Hirschber was one of the people who he would be, when he was sort of more like actually in one place for a certain amount of time, he was gone from his house from Motzi Shabbos till Friday night. He'd only come home for Shabbos. He'd be out in the forest. Literally just, mamish, they were called the Oivdim in Uman. There was a bunch of people like this. They would break the ice every day in the winter and go in. He said the only thing we were worried, they said we got used to the cold. The only thing we were worried about was not finding the hole.
Which hole?
To get back up. Anyway, so Bekitzer. So Shlomo's saying bias, yeah? A house compared to the whole wide world is like this small tzimtzum. 4 walls are bakirot, kol rahit omed b'diuk b'mkomo, each piece of furniture exactly in its spot. It doesn't change. Hayim yesh davar ter mekuvat, is there anything that's more set, that's more constricted? Although there's a biduk lahefech, but it says it's really, it's actually the opposite. The home is a place where you can stop pretending. The home is a place where you can have bli tzimtzumim. The home is actually, it's a tzimtzum which creates a space to be beyond all the tzimtzum, to be beyond all the constrictions. Bli lechavetz, without having to shrink myself. Beveiti ani lo tzarich lehiyot klum. In my house, and I'm really home. I don't have to be anything. Just home, right? That's how his spoilers should be. Just be with Hashem. No more acts, no more nothing. Totally unfiltered. Ani pashut sham. Ani יכול לתת לנשמה שלי להאיר, בלי I can let my neshama shine with no tzimtzum. לכן, כשאני פוגש אישה שהיא בת זוגי באמת, that's why when I meet somebody who could be my true soulmate, mitarer biharatzon, what happens when you really meet your soulmate? It's not just I love you, I want to be with you. It's I want to build a home, right? A space where we can both really be ourselves, right? A space and children, lichyot ita b'bayit, to live in a home. That means that my connection with her is truly simple. Beyond all the constrictions. It's not, we'll do this, we'll have that, we'll go there, we'll there. It's a home, it's a constriction, but it's a space of beyond. Kamoha matzah, like matzah, right? If someone keeps coming back and forth from matzah to sphira, matzah is just receiving the light, just the full-on thing, and then sphira is okay, fleshing it out, right? Sometimes we got Yiddishkeit backwards. First we got all the details, and we're like, but where's the suckling of infinite light? Where's that, right? Sometimes the order is, it starts with suckling matzah lashon motzetz im tamotzu as tamotzu v'tis angu aziz kvodah, like it said in the Haftorah last week for Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. We need to get it first fully all the way in, infinite, no tzimtzumim, and then flesh it out and understand it and turn it into words and understanding and so on. So he says, from my heart to her heart, her heart to my heart. Well, like between me and Hashem. And in his car, remember, a young man from Borough Park, a Yeshiva Bacher, who met the daughter of a Chassidish Jew, he was confused. He really loved her, but he was always just kind of running away from it. Nebuch, who lo yada et ma shani yadati, he didn't know what I knew. Habachura hazot hayta mamash tik. She was a case. She was a case. Tov, nisiti ledaber ita. I tried to speak to her. Shalti ota, madua lo ratzali nasela. Why don't you want to marry him? Atem yodim ayantali. You know what she answered me? Ani lo yichola letzamtzim et atzmi legever echad. I can't constrict myself to one man. Right. This is the thing. This is unfortunate. What happens is the Western world, or whatever it is, it flips things on the opposite. It makes us think that the tzimtzum of a bayit is going to cramp your style, right? It's gonna ruin your life, right? And we miss that. No. That adarava, commitment and connectivity that's what creates the greatest, most least constricted light possible, right? Instead of just saying she doesn't really love him, I guess she had wanted to try to sound Kabbalistic. I can't constrict myself to one man. Surely she took a Kabbalah course. There's money with Salem Marlech, and what I want to tell you, Nisuim, Bayit, marriage, a home, it's the holiest tzimtzum there is.
Which book are you reading from?
This right here, you can take one. Yes, we just turned we're new paragraph, page 344. Right, middle of the page, kind of like it says Tzimtzum Kadosh. holy tzimtzum be'etzem ze rikuz. It's concentration. It's like from concentrate. Mamash harikuz, focus. Rikuz. Hachi amok, the deepest focus. Right? That's called a tzimtzum kadosh. But this is what we're heading into, is from like the white light of Pesach, the white fire of relationship itself, which is what Pesach is about, to the black fire of the letters, which are focus. This mitzvah, this story, this teaching, this and right, and it binds you more and more deeply. It creates this amazing paradox of oneness and dynamic growth and connection. Right. Sometimes people who really want to learn Torah, suddenly they stop learning. Then what happened? I'm learning one tractate. I can't just only learn this page of Talmud. I want the entire Torah all at once. What's my problem? I don't know how to focus. I don't know how to receive it through the tzimtzum of this page, this pasuk, this halacha, this whatever I'm learning, right? I would understand what holy tzimtzum is. I would understand that dafka, from the deepest focus, I can reach the highest infiniteness. Dafka, right? Right? I'm focusing when I'm saying the pasuk Shema Yisrael. I'm focusing on this pasuk, on these words, on this concept. This is not a tzimtzum in a negative sense. It's a tzimtzum in the positive. Focus. Through that specific focus, I'm connecting to the infinite. You know what the problem is? We think that every gevura, every time that there's a limit or a specificity, that means I'm shrinking. It means I'm cramping my style. It's going to shrink me, but it's not true. What's a negative tzimtzum? What's the kind of constriction that will hide the light in learning Torah? Is when I'm learning Torah, but I'm learning it only for myself, right? Now that's already, right? I'm learning it in a way that's measurable. I think I'm like a thermometer, and I'm filling up the Levish meter, right? Not learning it for the connectivity, and I'm not learning it on behalf of all of Am Yisrael. He says, the story of the Lelaver is a story that we need to learn. Rav David Lelov Amad Beveit Midrash Shahaita Arba Achar Tzorayim. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. V'adayin lo yitpalel shachris. He hadn't yet davened shachris, right? Classic Rebbe's story. Talitoita Bukupal, he still had his talis folded over on his shoulder. Bukalach is walking back and forth. Nichnas misnagid echad. So one non-Hasidic Jew comes in. Mistalkel lav lo yachol litapek. He can't hold back. Omer, ma? Adayin lo yitpalalta? You didn't daven yet? Ani kamti mukdam. I woke up early. I learned Torah 10 hours already today. V'ata filu shachris. You didn't even daven shachris yet. Another Reb David, Re'edidi, says, listen, my friend, if you learn Torah for the sake of all of Israel, means I learned also those 10 hours I was with you. And if you're only learning for your own self, heavy. Who needs that kind of learning? Right? Whoa.
What's he saying here? What's he saying?
Saying the Torah comes through in these focused things, these pages of Talmud, these psukim, these halachas, and there's symptom. So a person could say, I don't want that tzimtzum. I want the whole Torah. And then they never learn. And that's a chaval, because they're missing the holiness of the tzimtzum, the positivity of the tzimtzum. But then he's saying that we have to realize that if you take the tzimtzum of Torah and think of it like I'm putting money in the bank, think of it like I'm mathematically increasing how much I learned, that I can say that I'm so learned and better than this guy, or whatever it is. If I'm thinking of it in a quantifying and comparing kind of a way, if I turn it into that, I turn it into and it's all just about my personal gain, then I've really profaned it. I haven't, because Torah is the place where all of Am Yisrael connects with Hashem. And every Jew, every mitzvah that we do, it needs to be for the sake of all of Am Yisrael. We were learning the other day, Rav Chanan Wasserman, the Talmud of the Chafetz Chaim. Someone wants to ask him. He wrote. I saw this. He wrote, and he has a parish on the Agaritas, that Hillel. Remember, the convert comes into Hillel and says, "Convert me while I'm standing on one foot." And he says, "What you don't want done to you, don't do it to your friend." That's the whole Torah. It's a famous question: is where's tefillin? Where's Shabbos? Where's davening? In that, where's all the mitzvahs ben adam lamakom? It sounds like what the whole Torah is only from ben adam chavero. So he said there are two forces in the world. There's kedusha and tuma, holiness and impurity. Because purity is just the lack of impurity. It's not yet positive. It's just getting things clean and clear, right? And the kedusha and the tuma are in a war. And just when you put on tefillin, you just increased all the kedusha in the whole world. It means you made it easier for your friend to put on tefillin. It means you made it easier for everyone else, right? We're all in the war effort together all the time, right? So he says that's why, like, davening is for your friend, right? Very beautiful. That's an incredible explanation of Gemara. And that's this idea here. For the tzimtzum to be kadosh, it has to be understanding what Torah is. Torah is, if I'm blessed with understanding and the life experience to be able to learn, and there's so many Jews that have no idea what it even is, I have to learn B'Shem Kol Yisrael. What Torah is the connection between Am Yisrael and Hashem. If I'm thinking of it as just me, it becomes ugly. It can become ugly. And so there's someone speaking about it here further. He says, one time I spoke to Yeshiva Bach in Yerushalayim. This is a really strong deeper from Shlomo. I think about this all the time. So sometimes you see a Yeshiva Bacher walking in the street, and he sees somebody not religious, Jewish but not religious, sees a Yeshiva Bacher walking across the street from him. What does he think? He thinks in his heart, Eze Yofi, so beautiful. Bnei Hanor Ha'ela, these young people are so beautiful. They're learning Torah. And sometimes Yeshiva Bacher walks in the street, and somebody non-Jewish sees him, Benikur Kaze, and it's so alien to him. He feels so disconnected, doesn't feel anything positive about him. But Mazat Halui, what does it depend on? It says, I'll tell you, Zemod very simple. If that Yeshiva was up all night learning Torah for the sake of all of Israel, so then this non-religious person, he was learning for me too. He sees the beauty of their interconnectedness. I can't help but see chen. Wow, this is for I'm part of that. Like, he can't help. I love you, so much love for him, right? It's just like tragic reading this thing, right? Because unfortunately, second to last line in this paragraph here.
Okay.
Aval, end of the line. Aval, but if this bacher was only learning for himself, so then the non-religious Jew says in his heart, disgusting. If already you're learning, why aren't you learning for me too? Right? This is this very deep thing Shlomo is talking about. The Torah energetically is a true expression of the souls of Am Yisrael. And those of us who are zoche to learn, we have to learn B'Shem Kol Yisrael. That's what Torah is. It's a connection of, it's national. It's not personal. It's also personal, but it's personal in so much as it's national. You're a representative. You're a shliach. You're part of all of Am Yisrael. And if we lose sight of that and we take it as just like, you go out to make a buck, you go out to make a few dapim, you're missing it. And people feel it. People will feel it. They may not be able to even consciously say it. It's almost talking a very deep, like super conscious level. He says, you understand, we're talking about a holy tzimtzum. The open pratim, learning a specific thing. If you have enough, according to my partial understanding, the best that's a tzimtzum. From mitzad sheni, on the other hand, my learning is making a vessel for the light of the Torah for all of Am Yisrael. Sometimes you have to really focus. This is something that Rav Nachman and the Ishbitzer also say. Yaakov Vino Mele Yosef, Yosef, Anina Satil Hashem, Echad Alachicha, Shelakachti Mer Morbi, Kavi Vikashti. Yaakov Vino gives the city of Shechem to Yosef. He's still buried there now. Because it's the city that I took with my sword and my bow and arrow. Imeza Cherev, Imeza Keshet, what is it? What's this bow and arrow? So Chazal say, before Rabbi Nachman and the Ishbitzer, Chazal, they say, it's loisi va'usi with my tefillah and my bakasha, right? My praise and my request. That was a spiritual thing. I took it through davening. Aval shneim him lashon tefillah. Both of them are words of tefillah. Sword and bow and arrow. What's the difference between these two terminologies for davening? Kachem Armin is what they both say. Yesh nei sugei tefillah. There's two kinds of davening. To be like sword-like, as I'm cutting through the brush and connecting to Hashem. I have to be so exactly precise, like just slashing my way through. You have to be as focused. The main thing is the energy, the strength, and small, swiping right and left, and I win. But sometimes tefillah can't just be this, just making a unfocused, energetic thing. Tefillah needs to be like an arrow. It has to be just precise, right? That demands the deepest focus.
What makes tefillah more focused than what focuses tefillah?
Meaning, sometimes I just go out, I'm just crying out, Hashem, where are you? I need you, whatever it is, right? And sometimes I need to pinpoint. I had to take time to sit and figure out there's something in me that really needs to connect to Hashem. I don't even remember what it was. Like sometimes your day was good and then the second half of the day wasn't good and you don't know what happened. And then you look back and you realize, when this person said this, it really set me off, or whatever it is. And you realize something deep about yourself. And you have to daven about that specific thing. You know what I'm saying? The next paragraph, a surgeon whom is to be very focused on the body of the sick person. The more sick the person that he's operating on, the more very focused he has to be. Is that called a constriction? Is it called shrinking? The desire here is totally loving, is totally giving. Yitzchak is gvura. Haim hayitem korim lo liyitzchak tzimtzum? Would you call his name tzimtzum? Right? Yitzchak gvura v'lo tzimtzum. Right? He's gvura, but this is what we're talking about. This whole time of Shira Omer is we have to have the gevura to connect to the particularity of each number, of each sphere, of each day. The second bracha in the Shemona Esrei is the bracha of Yitzchak. Right? The first one is Magen Avraham. The second one doesn't mention Yitzchak, but it is the first three brachas of the Shemona Esrei are connected to the Avos. What is it? It's Machaya HaMesim. I'm making you imagine how much focus you have to bring the dead back to life. It's not constriction, it's focus. Yitzchak is absolutely the deepest. And this is something also true with each other. The Ishbitzer says, he doesn't bring this here, but the Ishbitzer says that how do we experience revival of the dead even in our waking lives? He says, in addition, just every morning we wake up, but he says it's when you get your hope back. When you lose hope, that's called like dying. When you get your hope back, as we talked about before, the kav, tikva, when you get your hope back, it's like chayim mesim. And now, that's true. Sometimes Hashem gives it to us. But the most amazing thing is when we can give it to each other. To know your friends really well. What's the thing? Sometimes you just need to remind them of something, or bring them back into an experience you know they love, or make the right joke, or whatever it is that's going to just chayim mesim. It's going to give them their hope back, right? And that's a very specific, you have to be focused and tzimtzum, but in the best way, Chaim, questions, thoughts? Thank you, Chevra.
Chazak Meod. Thank you, Rabbi Leibush. That was wow,
Jesus.
mamash amazing. You know the Varkanigan that you sang, it reminds me a little bit of Majits. It has like a similar
It has a
complicated
bit.
style. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's really beautiful. And is Vorka Amshinov? Is it the same Chassidus?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because I was trying to place Vorka. I just not familiar with that title, but
Yeah,
found
I
on me
believe
that it
so.
might be Amshinov.
I
Okay.
believe so. Yes.
Yeah. It would be cool if we can hear the Carnegie Hall
I
performance. That would
know.
be super
Maybe we can
cool.
find it.
Wow.
That's homework. You guys can try and find. Yeah.
Okay, we'll try to find it.
Yeah, you ever got it? Yeah.
Hope to keep you posted. Shavua Tov, thank you.
Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, Leonard Bernstein?
Whoa,
No.
that would be. So we'll keep looking. I got to jump off. So nice to see you guys and have you guys. You good job.